ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Walking with J.Beau. I am your walking companion this evening. So let's walk together. Walk with me, friends. Get away from this traffic. Around the corner. Not a huge fan of listening to traffic. Now, last night was in the category of damn chilly. Tonight it's a little different. It's about 69 degrees. Dew point is in the 50s. So it feels warmer than it did last night, because last night the dew point was in the 40s. It felt dry, more like wintertime. So I am walking with the chest cam on because it is nighttime. Hope everybody is having a good week, and if you're not, I'm sorry. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to start off with the school shooting at Appalachia High School in Georgia today. And it absolutely turns my stomach at how quickly Democrats have politicized it into banning firearms in an election year. Trump's been gaining momentum. Kamala's been going down in the polls. And they're trying to seize upon anything they can to give her a boost. So which is really funny, because my reply to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz was to mind your own damn business. It seems to be a popular phrase Tim Walz keeps throwing out there in reference to, you know, women's reproductive rights. And these people don't seem to grasp the concept that the Constitution of the United States, Second Amendment, is no different than the First. And we don't regulate free speech, even though that is what this old dog here is going to attack me. Watch what happens. So anyway, they are politicizing the shooting today. It didn't take them long to get on that. Bodies weren't even cold yet. These people are just terrible. So anyway, it looks like a 14-year-old kid got his hands on a firearm or firearms. And I can tell you right now, they have not revealed what type of firearm it was. So I can tell you right now, it's not an AR-15. And if I'm wrong on that, I could be. But generally speaking, that's how they operate. If it hurts Republicans, the media gets that out there right away. They find the information. It has to be an AR-15 so they can push assault rifle bans And the Democrats are already calling for assault rifle bans, and they haven't even revealed what the firearm was yet. But from my personal experience, and yours too probably, the simple fact that 4 were killed and 9 injured would tell me that it is not an AR-15 or a hypervelocity type bullet. So it was probably just a handgun or shotgun, which are also, by the way, according to FBI stats, the most common firearm chosen for mass shootings. Despite the media making a big deal out of AR-15s, it's shotguns and handguns. Shotguns and handguns are used in about 70% of mass shootings. And we already know that they classify a mass shooting as blah, 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 blah. So many people injured or hurt. The other thing is AR-15s are the most common rifle sold in America. So mathematically, it's the one that gets used quite often. So there's tons of handguns and tons of shotguns more than AR rifles. So that perfectly explains how ARs and handguns are used for mass shootings more than AR-15s. But the media covers the AR-15 because that's what the Democrats want. Because, as I explained, AR-15s are the #1 selling format rifle. JR stands for Armalite rifle, not assault rifle. No such thing as an assault rifle, but the media calls it that, and we are forced now to call it that if you want to talk to somebody about it, because if you just say semi-automatic rifle, they don't know what you're talking about. So they wanted the violent word in there, assault. Well, you can take grandpa's old lever gun and do a mass shooting with it, and technically that would be an assault rifle because it's being used for violence. So, but that's neither here nor there. These people are lunatics. So with that being said, though, we are, it's a sad event that happened. It's tragic. But with regard to gun control, it is going to come out that it's not an AR-15. I'd be really surprised if it was. That's not to say it isn't. Okay, I don't want to sound like that. We'll see what they say. Well, we'll see if I would have won that bet. Let's put it that way. Looks like that homeless person sitting on the sidewalk again up here. So we're going to scooch over this way. I don't know where the hell all this came from all of a sudden. I really hate this country right now. Well, I don't hate my country. I hate the way it is. It's like nobody freaking cares. Shouldn't have people living on sidewalks. are picking through a trash bag, making a mess in the road. But it's a homeless person just getting what he needs. On a regular 5-miler tonight. I'm already getting warmed up now. Got my flashlight with me because it's going to be dark up here. Got my light. Any eyeballs out in the woods looking at me? All right. Wish they would fix that street light. That pole right there. So anyway, that mass shooting, by the way, there were two resource officers on campus, and they went into action and they ended this early. The school had gotten a phone call earlier in the day stating that this was going to be the first of 5 schools shot up today, according to reporting on CNN. And that's CNN, so we don't know if it's true or not. Sadly, that's just the way things are today. But they said this was going to be the first of 5 in the area. And it's a pretty big high school. So, pretty big school, I should say. So with that, took him out. They didn't kill the guy, but the kid that was doing the shooting, I guess, when confronted by the officers, just got down and surrendered. He probably could have killed the officers, but he surrendered. 14-year-old kid, and he's obviously going to be charged. I don't know if somebody that's 14 years old is going to get charged as an adult in Georgia, but I would hope so, just to keep him off the street, because somebody's capable of this at 14. I don't think they're going to be able to rehabilitate themselves to not do this later after 18. But stranger things have happened, case by case basis, yada yada. So anyways, we will march on. So, in other news, I'm gonna watch this car up here. I'm gonna go off to the side. So, in other news, we have the death of Paul Harrell. So it is now official. Paul Harrell is no longer with us. And really don't know what to say about it. I made a 5-minute video for my channel last night when I heard about it. And that video just speaks for itself. I do think it was pretty awesome in the typical Paul Harrell style humor that we went to his profile and watched the video that they had on there, and he titled the video, "I'm Dead." That is his typical friggin' humor right there that we all love so much. I'm dead. So he starts off the video saying, if you're watching this video, it was recorded in December of 2023. And if you're seeing this video now, it means I'm dead. It's like, wow, you know? So anyway, Paul Harrell is not with us any longer, but he's still with us. His videos will remain on the channel. And he also said in this video that the channel would be renamed after he is gone to, they didn't have an exact name worked out. He just said something to the effect of, you know, Pat and Paul Harrell, or Paul and Pat Harrell. He said something like that, whatever. Like he wasn't really concerned about it. And he asked that people that donate to Patreon for the channel to keep donating. The channel's not going to end. So I think that's really nice. It's just sad that somebody that young had to get something that terrible. And he was such a nice guy. So anyway, so the Kamala Harris circus is continuing on. She did a rally today, and they tried to make it look full. She doesn't have the interest. She's not going to be able to maintain that. But they are paying people to attend her rallies. How do I know this? Because it's been verified by independent journalists. And I already told you, trust but verify. And that's why I said she was doing this before, but I had no evidence, but now I do. So that's why her website is RSVP only, and you need an ID to get tickets. They want to know how many people are coming. They bussed people in today from out of state where she was speaking. 12 buses to make the place look full, because she has to compete with Trump rallies. So she's finished. She's done. Don't underestimate Kamala at the debate. It's the advice I would give Trump if I were Tulsi Gabbard, who she is going to be one of his coaches, a debate coach for debate prep. But he doesn't prep all that much. She's just going to give him pointers on how Kamala Harris is from her perspective. The Kamala camp wanted to have the microphone stay on, and apparently ABC has capitulated to the Trump campaign. Trump wants the mics to turn off because she's just going to do like she did before. Excuse me, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Excuse me, the black woman is speaking. Shut up, Whitey. Don't talk over me. So she's not going to have that. But I read in the report, in the article I read, that said that ABC, whoever is hosting it, and whoever the engineer is backstage for the event, directing it, has the option, when they think the microphone is, when it's actually viable to have it turned on, they will turn it on. So the mics will be off until the person directing it decides they're on. So I can see them cheating and abusing with that. They'll mute it when Trump wants to say something because Kamala is lying about something. And then they'll leave it on for Kamala to have her way with Trump. I already know they're going to do that. What I'm surprised at is that ABC said they were going to do that because they were afraid the Trump campaign was going to back out and not do a debate, which I thought was odd. You know what that tells me? What's the first thing that told you? That's right. ABC knows the real polls, and they want a chance for Kamala to catch up to Trump and have a good debate. And they're afraid Trump would back out. That's what ABC said. Not that they feel like Kamala's behind, but they're afraid of Trump backing out. And there can only be two reasons for that. One is ratings. They don't want to lose the market share because of money, but they're a big conglomerate owned by Disney. So, as we have a whole symphony of dogs going crazy right now because I'm walking by talking to a camera. So anyway, it's either ratings or they know Kamala's behind. So it's tough telling, not knowing. But there has to be a reason for it, because ABC hates Trump and they would not do anything in Trump's favor. They just wouldn't. I know they wouldn't. So, and you know they wouldn't. So anyways, that being said, pretty amazing times we're in right now. We'll see where things go. Sounds like Snoopy with his Sopwith camel flying behind us. Anyways, we're going to see what happens with the debate that's coming up. I guess it's still on. I really thought Kamala was going to back out of it. So I've been getting the gist that she really doesn't want to do the debate. She really doesn't want to do any of this campaigning stuff. She's just doing it because she has to. And it's like a carbon copy of Biden. They think they're just going to run that same formula and have the media prop her up as much as it can and hope for the best. But right now she's trailing behind where Biden was, and not by a little bit. She's not doing well. Newsweek yesterday had an article that Trump is now leading in all 5 battleground states. That's what the article said. Well, 5 out of the 7. 2 of them are considered tied. But the point is, when Biden was in the race, that was considered to be what you would call not a tie, but Biden only had to worry about 3 states, 3 battleground states. He had Arizona, he had Nevada, and in 2020 he would have been on pace for being competitive again, and Kamala's not. So they have problems with that. The fact is, she's not competitive politically to what Biden is. Biden's had 50 years, did things, was vice president for 2 terms. Kamala was vice president for less than 1 term, and she disappeared. She's been in the Senate. She was a district attorney. And, she has a reputation for sleeping around to get where she needs to be. Because that's what she did. I'm not saying it to womanize the poor thing, but that's what she did. I've seen clips of her with celebrities. She was younger. Montel Williams. She had a fling with him. So she kind of hobnobbed around the rich and famous. That's what she was doing. And I don't know how she ended up with her husband, Emhoff, Jewish guy. The Jewish guy that impregnated their young nanny while he and Kamala were married. So they got that going for them. And so they're pretty messed up. Now the big news for me today was Tim Walz's family came out today. Timmy Tampons, his family came out today denouncing him as candidate, and they were all wearing Walz family shirts with Trump's big name on their shirts and a big Trump 2024 flag behind them. The entire Tim Walz family is supporting Donald Trump. So I don't know what they're going to do from a PR point of view for that. I do know that one of the family members, and Trump also posted it on Truth Social, that he told one of the family members through his Truth Social that he was going to be contacting them shortly to do something with campaigning. So the Walz family is going to be campaigning with Donald Trump in some form or capacity. I don't know if it's just going to be a commercial, if they're going to show up at a rally. I would think that he would have them all at a rally. That would be interesting. So, yep. The article said the entire family. And there was like 9 of them I saw in the photograph, all wearing Walz and Walz for Trump t-shirts with a MAGA flag, Trump 2024, behind them. So, very interesting things going on, okay? Things are heating up. They're getting a little warm by the fire, okay? So, we in crazy times, folks. So anyways, that's where we're at on all of that. Somebody else in their garage working on their car. Told you, I've been seeing a lot of that around here. So my GSG 1911, I'm going to save you guys a lot of time right now. Time and money. Don't buy it. Just don't get one. Reason why I say that is I was having a problem with light hammer strikes, which is what happens when the main spring wears out. And I bought a new mainspring, installed it. Worked fine for 1 week. Then the next week I went back. And guess what? Firing pin's broken. So getting a firing pin for this is not easy. They don't sell the parts through their website. The warranty is expired. The ATI website, that is. And they don't even have the damn thing available to buy. So you have to buy an aftermarket one for $40-something. And I'm not spending $40-something for a firing pin. So what I did was I put the pistol back together with the broken firing pin, because it was mildly broken. And what I mean by that is you'd have to know what the firing pin looks like. It's not like a traditional rod with a sharpened end like a firing pin. And it's not even one where it's a rod with little parts on the side are cut out for pins to go through the bolt to hold it in place. This is a different design. It almost looks like a key, like a house key, sort of, with the face that hits the rim on the end of it. So it's not a point, obviously, because it's a rim fire. And the surface of it was too flat. The surface area was too blunt. And this pistol has not been very forgiving since I've gotten it. Some ammo runs great, and it's one of those guns where you call it ammo picky. I don't want ammo picky firearms, okay? So the Walther Colt costs $30 more, actually $20, because it's $279. That's what I paid for it. Might be able to get them for $250. But if you spend $50 more, you can get the Walther Colt 1911. That is all steel, no aluminum rail on it, slide I mean, and it is really nice quality vintage looking Colt. They have ones that you can add a few bucks to it and buy a model that has a rail on the front and all that, but I don't need any of that stuff. I just want a basic old-fashioned 1911 A1 in 22, which is what I thought I was getting with the GSG. Turns out it wasn't. And I want the Walther Colt. About 300 bucks for a basic model like Colt made when it was Colt, and Walther got the rights to it. And let me tell you, my brother has one and I really love shooting it. It is a great shooter. It runs everything, even the cheap bulk ammo, the less powerful ammo. With the GSG, if you use a little bit less powerful ammo, sometimes the slide is lazy on kicking back and it doesn't pick up a round out of the magazine. It doesn't kick back far enough. So, or hard enough. That damn Colt runs like a top. Every damn thing shot in it ran. Except that really bad Stingers we got. It was a bad batch. They didn't run in the rifles. It didn't run in any of the pistols. And even in the revolvers, of course they would run in a revolver, the bottoms of the casings were bulging because the tolerances were off and they weren't seating all the way in chamber. So that's what the problem was with that. So you couldn't get through a magazine without a ton of malfunctions. It didn't matter what we shot it in. So it wasn't a magazine, wasn't a pistol. They didn't even run in friggin' Rossi, the Rossi RS-22 that runs everything. I've actually nicknamed my Rossi Mikey, because Mikey, he likes it. Mikey likes anything. So that's from the commercials in the 70s. If you don't know what that is, well, it's not my problem. Let's give it to Mikey. He likes everything. Kids wanted to see if the cereal was good or not, because kids are picky about what cereal they want. So I reference that with ammo picky rifles or pistols. So I nicknamed my Rossi Mikey. Let Mikey try it. See if he likes it. He likes everything. In other words, if Mikey don't like it, it ain't no good. So that's it. So the other thing about that school shooting today is you had 2 resource officers on campus, and they took care of this problem before it really got out of hand. So it was clearly a benefit that they were there, okay? A lot of schools have cut out their officers that they have in the school, and that's unfortunate because now these kids are left unprotected, and as a parent I would not like that, especially today. Now Maine here had a bill that would have put armed police officers in schools, and the Democrats refused to pass it. And what happened today in Georgia demonstrates how important it is to have law enforcement on hand when something is happening. Hurry up, skunk. Skunk's running across the road. I'm glad the skunk came out before I walked by. I'm glad we just didn't see him get hit by a car. But anyway, it demonstrated the importance of having an officer in the school real time to deal with things, because it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes for officers to show up. And then after they showed up, they had to go classroom to classroom, and it's a pretty big school that they had to go through. So it's not an easy thing when officers show up to a shooting to just take care of the shooter. It's not as easy as that. And apparently the Democrats don't understand that. They ought to watch body cam footage from start to end when a mass shooting happens, so they can see what it's like from a law enforcement point of view. That having somebody in the school to know where the shooter is, because schools nowadays all have cameras. It would make their job a lot easier. But Democrats have to hold on to this friggin' gun control issue like it's gold. And be a bunch of selfish political bastards with it, instead of putting the kids first. So I'm going 2.5 miles. I'm going 2.5 miles in the books. So the Farmer's Almanac came out. The Farmer's Almanac came out. And it's predicting for New England, which includes Maine, that it's going to be warmer than usual this winter and drier with less snow, except for the first week of December, it says, and mid-February, or towards the end of February, it said. And there'll be some periods where it actually gets warm enough to rain in between, which normally you would say, okay, and that's really great if it stays mild overnight and it just stays rain. But here, if it gets, when it gets dark and it gets freezing, around the freezing mark, right around 32, 33 degrees, it'll turn to snow. But when it's about 36 degrees, if everything on the ground is cold, that rain will freeze. You get freezing rain. Freezing rain building up on power lines, the weight of that knocks the power out if it's windy, Sometimes it knocks it out if it's not windy. So it's it'd be nice if it's warmer from a heating and energy point of view, but not if it is warm enough to freeze and cause freezing rain problems. So, but they said it was going to be drier than normal and milder. So, coldest it would be here, they said, would be in January, which is a pretty easy prediction to make because January is the coldest month. But sometimes when we get an Arctic blast from Canada, the high temperature will be 7 degrees, not 77, 7 Fahrenheit for a high temperature, and below 0 in the mornings Fahrenheit. So milder is better. And from what they were talking about milder being in the low 40s. Excuse me. Goodness. So we'll see what comes from that. Excuse me. So there's something else I wanted to talk about tonight, but it's escaping me at the moment. You know that RCP average I was telling you about, where you go to Real Clear Politics and they use about a dozen, sometimes less, poll results for whatever state or nationwide, and they basically just take all of them, put them together, and come up with an average of everything that's on it. Well, it's really difficult to do that when you have 12 polls on there. All right, 8 of them have Trump ahead by a point, half a point in whatever state, and then you have 4 of them that have Trump behind by 4 or 5 points behind Kamala. One of them was incredibly ridiculous. It was like 13 points ahead for Kamala in Nevada. I mean Arizona. It's like no other poll is even close to that. Most of the polls have Trump ahead in Arizona. A couple of them don't, but even those are like a point and a half, or tied. This was like 13, you know, then that 13 gets figured into the whole average, and it drags the number down. So we're going to have the debate coming up on the 10th, 6 days. Let it all fly from that. I think Kamala realizes she's going to be actually debating Donald Trump, not some friggin' mealy-mouthed typical you know, Mitt Romney or somebody like that, where she can just go out there and manhandle them because she's a black woman. It's not going to work with Trump. So that'll be really interesting to watch. We'll see what happens. But the pressure is on Kamala because new polling I saw today for how many people associate, the percentage of people that associate Kamala with the current White House. And it was the majority of the voters they polled. They still associate Kamala Harris with Joe Biden and the White House that's there now. So she has not distanced herself from that, which is why I think you're seeing the poll numbers go down. And it's only going to get worse for her. It really was not a wise choice by them to have Kamala as a candidate. She should have resigned as vice president at the very least, which they didn't want to do because of campaign money that she had at her disposal. It was over $200-something million that belonged to the Biden campaign, but because she was on the ticket, legally she's able to get it. Now, I don't care who you are, $200-something million is a lot of money to run if you're a candidate. They probably would have made that up anyway, but well, it is what it is, and they got stuck with Kamala. So at the end of the day, it might very well be the best thing that Biden did was picking a DEI hire as vice president, and they actually did release that that's who she was on the official White House website. He said that Joe Biden supports DEI, just like when we picked Kamala Harris to be vice president, because he had promised he was going to pick a woman. That's what he promised. Didn't even know who he was going to pick yet. Diversity, equality, and inclusion. Inclusion. She's not going to win this election. Not unless they do massive cheating like we've never seen before. Because even if they cheated like they did last time, it's not going to help them. You could just do simple math on that. And right now, to be honest with you, latest polling, Virginia is in play for Trump, if you can believe that. He's within the margin of error of being tied with her for Virginia. I would imagine that that would have been a solid blue no matter what. No way Trump was going to touch that, because Biden had like a freaking 17-point lead in Virginia at one point. That's all vaporized. I think Kamala is somewhere around 5 points leading in Virginia. The other key thing to remember is Virginia switched to paper ballots. Which, by the way, reminds me of something funny I saw today. I saw a film clip of Kamala complaining about electronic voting from years ago, saying that all states should have paper ballots. So that was circulating on the internet today, and everything with her is flip-flop. Say what you got to say to get elected, never do it, who cares? And I think Americans know that. That's why she's going downward in the polls. So she's not dropping like a rock yet, but it's a slow increment. You know, we still got what, 60 days? 60 days to the election. Tomorrow's the 5th. November 5th is the election. And we got the rest of September, October. October is an extra day, 31 days. September's got 30. So 61. Yeah, 61 days. When tomorrow gets here. How about that? We're almost there already. So we do have the Trump sentencing coming up. Guarantee you that's going to be big headlines. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to sentence him, like I said, and then he'll be out on bail on appeal. And I don't think the judge is going to determine that he's a flight risk. He's running for president. Now, Trump is the presidential candidate in an election. That's all right. I walk 40 miles a week. It happens every other block all the time. So they're not going to be happy about that. First time offense on misdemeanor charges. That is only a felony because it was done to cover up, to hide another crime, according to what the jury found. So I'd be really hard pressed to believe that Trump's actually going to get sentenced to prison time. Because theoretically the judge has the power to sentence him, deny bail on appeal. He could very well deny bail on appeal and send Trump right to jail. Now, the way I heard it put on TV was Trump could very well go straight to Rikers Island, but Trump's not going to go to Rikers Island. He's a former president. It's a national security concern. He would have to have a whole wing sealed off privately with just him and his Secret Service. That's just the way that is. And chances are what would happen is he would end up being relegated to being at Mar-a-Lago until after the election. So what's going to happen is your guess is as good as mine. Unfortunately, we got a bunch of people on the internet and on cable news trying to stir this into something much bigger than it has to be, with all kinds of conspiracy scenarios. But the likely thing that would happen, because it's a national security issue, is you're not going to see Donald Trump go to prison. I think he'll be sentenced to prison, but he'll be out on appeal. That's what I think. So, which he'll win, because even the judge knows it will be overturned on appeal, but they don't care about that. Hi, how you doing?
Hi. Whatever.
So they don't even care about that, really. So there you have it. There it is. So I think CNN's desperate for ratings. They're bringing Brian Stelter back. Good old freaking egghead. Mr. Potato Head. They're bringing him back. So they kept all the people, basically, except for a couple that ruined their network. And they're still the same network, which is why I'm still not watching them. Now I say that, but I will put them on for 10-15 minutes a day to see what the gist of what they're talking about is for that day. You know what I mean? laugh at them, and then leave. MSNBC, I watch even less. They're just completely unwatchable. I watched Fox News a little bit earlier. I'm not really a fan of Fox News either. I'm just not. So I'm going to make a left-hand turn up here. I'll go right through here. I usually don't cut through here, but this goes through the Bambulance yard. The Bambulance. Cut through and go this way. This is where they have all the ambulances, right there. Shut up, dog. Too many dogs tonight. Oh, see, now we got another one going off. And one dog gets another one going. And I'm not even there anymore, and they're still going. And we got another one over here. And another one. It's like a chain reaction through the neighborhood. That's hilarious. Not if you're trying to sleep, but they're all over the place. They're everywhere. More dogs barking. That's that same dog. Jeez, see what I get? See what I got to deal with walking? Holy cannolis. Holy guacamole. Well, I might not go that way again. That's a little more excitement than I wanted. Now it's dark and spooky. It's dark and spooky over here. I'm gonna walk towards the light. Head to the light. The light. Pretty good sweat going right now. It's not muggy and humid by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have a little bit of a sweat going. Last night was pretty darn chilly, but I walked in the afternoon when it was 70 degrees. Today was also today was actually about 79 degrees. It's going to be 80 tomorrow also. And somebody has their AC on tonight. So it is a little warmer. It's not miserable though. Be an okay night to have the windows open. Be down in the 50s overnight tonight. Right now it's still about 64, 63, something like that. Flowers smell nice. All right. So, you know, things are going okay. We'll be okay, folks. Now, I saw something today. I remember what I wanted to talk about now. Probably be a good time for it. I saw something today where people were talking about how things aren't like they used to be since the pandemic, and things are different now, and that's true, but okay, there's different ways to look at that. So I want you to kind of like posit this thought. If you grew up in the 1930s, oh, there's my Poochie, he's back. Hi, baby. Hi. My doggy friend's back. I hadn't seen the dog out there for a while. I was wondering what happened to him. So I'll continue on with my story once we get past. We're going to see the progress on the Halloween decor. You're making progress, boss. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool. So, what I was asking you to posit the thought of, let's say you were born in So let's say 1928. Okay, we'll pick 1928. That's when my dad was born. And okay, so 1938 comes along, and Germany is taking over. The Nazi Party is taking over Germany, and all hell breaks loose in 1938 through 1945. Picture growing up before World War II, and then World War II happens. Then what happens after the war? Everybody's like, wow, everything's different now. We had something really bad happen, lots of people died, nothing will ever be the same, which is true. And you know, then you go on and you have the Korean War, Korean conflict. Then you have the Vietnamese War, Vietnam conflict. And look what happened in the United States politically because of Vietnam. That changed the entire country. And that set us on a path for the BS that we're dealing with today, if you think about it, because all these boomers that were tuning out and dropping out and tuning out, giving the finger to the man, running around naked in the woods, and you know, those people are in power today, and it's just a fact of it. So what we're experiencing now is a product of past conflicts and political upheaval. So for us to say, okay, well, everything changed in 2020, I want the old America back, but that old America that we want back is already the America these people that went through the stuff before that didn't want. It's an endless cycle. So at some point we have to realize the simple fact that stuff is always going to happen that's going to change the trajectory of everybody's lives. Good, bad, or indifferent, something is always going to happen. Change is inevitable. And at the end of the day, you have to circle back and say, you know what? Maybe I'm just old. Really, that's what it comes down to. I don't understand the music today. I don't understand the selfishness on young people. I don't understand any of it. But perhaps, just perhaps, I'm not meant to. So, just food for thought. I'm just throwing that out there. Kind of thing I think about sometimes, and you know, let me know what you think of that if you watch this. And also, one thing I am happy about is I'm happy with the traffic that has found my profile because of Paul Harrell. And the video I made as a tribute, sort of, a short one. And, you know, that's the really nice thing about Paul, okay? He came by my channel, my stupid little channel, little hole in the wall that's basically nothing. And he left a really nice compliment, which to this day on that video is the only compliment I've gotten on that video. Uploaded, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So he took the time to say hello and say I did a good job with something, and that means a lot to me. And that's Paul, you know, he considered himself one of the small guys, and I've been running into people on social media. As the first video they've ever seen of Paul was of him after his one that said he was dead. They've never seen any of his videos. It's like people were like telling them, man, you gotta go watch those. It's like, if you're into firearms, he's like in the top 5 on YouTube. Easily, hands down. If I was gonna pick my top 5, You know, he would probably be the #1 for me. No joke. I like Hickok 45 and everything. He'd be in the top 5 for sure. But, I mean, that's crazy that somebody into firearms has never seen Paul Harrell's videos. I just can't believe that. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are going to check him out now that he's passed, and they'll say, wow, this guy was pretty cool. So, anyway, Godspeed, Paul. God bless you. And thank you for being a really cool person. All right, so we're going to walk on now, coming into the last leg of the walk. Hopefully I won't run into any more homeless people on the sidewalk. You know, if somebody's homeless and they're going to be on the sidewalk, that's one thing, but the problem is I look at them like they are a transient. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their record is. I don't know if they're violent. I don't know if they're psycho. That's the problem I have. It's not personal. So, we're going to head on down here. Make something to eat. Get back. No deer today. I can smell weed. That car that went by, somebody was smoking weed in it. Yeah. I'm going to head on down the road. So once again, oh, there's my kitty friend. Oh, she's laying down in the grass now. And you can't see her, but it's this little orange tiger, kind of fluffy. I've seen that cat out here last summer quite often, and I hadn't seen it yet. It's the first time I see it. And you can't see it because it's dark. At 4.5 miles. And I got to tell you, this walk is no different than literally hundreds I've taken already as far as distance. I've been on this route plenty of times. I should be at 4.5 miles up around the corner here, and I hit 4.5 miles about 30 feet back from me right now. So GPS is off tonight. Wow. Don't know if you could hear that. You hear that? Sounds like an eagle. That sounds like an eagle. Come on, do it again. Oh, guess not. Pretty sure you heard that though. It was pretty loud. Flashlight on so I can see the sidewalk. It's an uneven sidewalk. It's like when you're walking in the dark and you step in a hole. All right. Well, we're gonna end this walk up ahead, and thank you for joining me on excuse me, walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog, which has been more daily than not so daily, but we are going to have some times coming up this winter where I won't be walking, maybe even for a week or two at a time. So it all depends on the weather. All depends on the weather. So I have reaped a lot of benefits from walking. I'm now in the 220s for my weight, which for somebody that is between 6'3" and 6'4", 220 is in shape. I have a chiseled, I guess you'd call it, chiseled look. It's something I was getting away from about three and a half years ago. And I was getting into that middle-age extra poundage that nobody wants. And the solution I had, where I didn't have to starve myself to lose weight, was to exercise. And the rest is kind of falling right in line with that. Feel very good, very strong, very healthy. And it's kind of enjoyable, even though I basically do the same routes all the time. I got 4 or 5 different routes, plus a couple of other places to wander off to once in a while. Fortunate enough to live in an area where you can have different environments, from having woods hiking to back roads and walking by farms, to doing as we're doing now, walking through the city. So there's all kinds of different options. Anyway, the bottom line is thank you very much for walking with me. Really appreciate that. Hope you have a beautiful week, and we will catch up on our next time together, friends. And as always, God bless you and stay safe. Bye bye now. Talk to you soon. Bye. There's my shadow right here waving goodbye.